Humans are a collection of genes scattered across time as we know it on Earth. But we owe our true beginnings to the tumbleweed of cosmic matter, matter that originated with time itself.
The chemical elements that we see in the mirror in the morning when we look at ourselves, those were all atoms that were inside stars hundreds of millions of years ago to billions of years ago. And so this is a pretty astonishing story just to begin with about the atoms. We're all connected in a very deep way, and yet we all forget that. I'm John Mather. I work at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center, and I'm the senior project scientist for the James Webb Space Telescope.
John's work has helped confirm the Big Bang Theory, the very moment time began when our universe came into existence, and he's done this with extraordinary accuracy. John leads the team for the James Webb Space Telescope, a telescope designed to peer far back into time.
A committee was formed, of course, to write a report to say, well, what do we do next? And they said, please build us an even bigger, more powerful telescope that could see farther back in time to see those first galaxies growing. And that's what's become the James Webb Space Telescope.
In this way, the telescope acts as night vision goggles, observing longer infrared wavelengths. This allowed scientists to see things that had never been detected before, the locations of thousands of other planets orbiting other stars with conditions that could be similar to Earth have been isolated.
We'd like to find the one that's just the right temperature, the right size, has the right amount of gravity, roughly the right chemistry to be like home.
This kind of curiosity was a feature of John's childhood.
I grew up in very rural northern New Jersey, and so it was really country and really far away from town, and it was dark at night, and you could see the stars. It was a really interesting place scientifically to grow up because geology was happening all around. This is where the Appalachians cut across New Jersey, and so the glaciers had come across and brought in all kinds of interesting stones and rocks, and there were fossils lying by the road. We went down to the Museum of Natural History in New York City, and we saw the planetarium show, and we saw the bones displayed, the dinosaurs, and the evolution display. So you could see how the fish turned into bigger fish and got more complicated over the zillions of years. So anyway, it was a fascinating time to be a kid, just having a sense of everything was open to be discovered, and everything was fascinating.
But what drives John the most are the mysteries embedded in the stars.
Immediately, I'm connected with the story that we tell about where did we come from, how did we get here, and I know from studying and thinking about it that the universe is truly immense and gigantic, and then the stars are really far away, and then the part that we can get from personal experience is so tiny by comparison. You know, a human lifespan's about 100 years, and that's about as much as we can remember. We talk to our grandparents, and that's about as far back as anybody remembers in person. And then we go on to say, well, we scientists have figured out what's happened over billions of years, and it's way beyond personal experience, but it's still mysterious and wonderful. And so I say, what a miraculous thing to be appreciative of, to say, well, out of this enormous universe, here we are looking up at the great mysteries of the sky and the mysteries of our own history.
So what does all of this look like to John, who's looked deep into space and time through the telescope, returning again and again home to Earth?
Because Earth's special even in the solar system. We're the only ones that have liquid ocean on the surface. We have continents and oceans, just enough water to fill up the ocean, but not all the way over the top of the mountain. So we can imagine that life on another planet that had water might exist, but without continents, they wouldn't have people. Virtually all the astronauts that look back at the Earth, either from the space station or from the Apollo, they all report some kind of mystic experience about this, seeing the Earth as small and fragile and as our only home. People come back realizing that our Earth is very special. We might need to protect it as well as we can, both from natural disasters and from the kinds of disasters that we could cause for ourselves. So we might be the only ones for long, long distance around.
For John, all of this heady stuff is actually very grounding.
It does give you a sense of humility and awe at the power of creation. Whatever creation story we may have, no matter how you tell it, it's astonishing. So gratitude for the opportunity to be here. I think Jim Lovell, astronaut who went to the moon, said basically, this is heaven right here. When you're born, you are in heaven. I think this is a wonderful perspective to think about. This is a very special spot.
A special spot that we all somehow made it to.